Hey you guys, today I want to talk to you about a dieting technique called intermittent fasting. I've heard of different types of fasting before, but this particular one I heard of on the Chalene Show. It's a podcast by Chalene Johnson. And in this particular episode, she was interviewing a fitness professional named Melissa McAllister. And the show was called 8 Hour Abs, or the 8 Hour Ab Diet. And so I listened to it a little bit skeptical at first because I'm always skeptical of anything that is really sounds that materialistic. We all know that quick fixes aren't real, and it sounded kind of like a quick fix to me. So I listened to the podcast, and what it really talked about was how Melissa McAllister eats. And Chalene goes to show, she talks about how super lean Melissa always looks, and she always seems to have a six-pack. And Melissa talks about how she never wanted to really disclose what she was doing as a diet in the past because skipping meals tends to be looked frowned upon in the health industry. And her diet is, they call it 8 Hour Abs because she practices this intermittent fasting where you eat all of your meals in an 8-hour window. So she would eat her breakfast or first meal at 11 a.m. and stop eating at 7 p.m. So she'd eat all of her meals for the day and all of her calories for the day in that 8-hour window. And I emphasize on all her calories because she emphasized that she did not cut calories. So it wasn't a diet per se because she was still eating all of her normal caloric intake that she would if her meals were spread out throughout the day. And so her science behind this that she explains is that your body, when you're sleeping or when you go through your regular fasting period of a day, your body will burn all your glycogen stores within 6 to 8 hours. So when you extend this fasting period overnight and you don't eat breakfast right away at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. and you prolong your fasting period for 16 hours, it gives your body more time to tap into fat stores, to burn more fat stores, more fat throughout the day, hence giving you a leaner physique. So I thought that I would just try it because I'm a habitual 6 to 7 meals a day person. I always have breakfast after I work out in the morning. I have morning, afternoon snacks, lunch, dinner, and typically some kind of meal after dinner. Usually I'm done eating around 7 or 8 p.m., but I thought I would give it a try. So I did, and I just want to tell you a little bit of my thoughts of this. So what I would do is I'd wake up in the morning and work out like I normally did, and then I would drive to work with my big thermos of coffee. So on this diet, you're allowed to have any types of foods that are not caloric. So coffee, tea, water. Probably you'd try to avoid any artificial sweeteners because we want to avoid those anyways. So I would have coffee and not eat my first meal until 11. So when I tried to do this, I jumped in head first, trying to get the full effect from going right into an 8-hour eating period where you might, if you were going to try this, try and transition eating within like an 11 or 10-hour window and then narrow it down to an 8-hour window. But so I tried this eating at 11. So I would eat my normal lunch at 11, which is always, lately has been rice or quinoa, and then protein, so typically chicken or ground turkey seasoned in some way, and then a vegetable. So I'd have my normal lunch, and I would also have usually another snack immediately after that because I was still hungry, and that seemed to tide me over until 2 o'clock-ish when I would have my normal afternoon snack. And lately I've been drinking Shakeology. I've been bringing my Shakeology to work and blending it up with almond milk, some fruit, and ice. So I'd have that, and that would keep me full until the end of my workday. And I would drive home and then make dinner immediately when I get home because that's what I normally do. So I'd be done eating dinner around 6 o'clock. Well, what I found when I was doing this is that I was not getting anywhere near my normal caloric intake for the day doing this fasting technique. Normally I have around 1,800 calories a day. That's pretty, it's a pretty good number for me being active with my active lifestyle outside of work. You know, obviously it's going to change from day to day on how active I am or how hungry I am. If I'm hungry, I usually eat, unless I'm doing intermittent fasting, or if I'm hungry in the morning, I still wait until 11. So this really brought back for me a lot of bad feelings and bad behaviors from the days when I was very strict on my calorie intake. And it scared me a little bit because I felt myself getting into that mindset again of, oh, I've only eaten 1,100 calories today. This is great. Like, I'm going to burn so much fat and I'm going to really lean out and lose those last 3 pounds that I can't seem to get off of my stomach. And I had to step back and think, okay, this is not right. I know that I should be eating more, and I'm not, because I'm so full that I can't eat anymore. And as far as I did try and eat more calories, I tried a couple of days to eat my full caloric amount, but then I felt like I was stuffing myself. And so feeling like I'm stuffing myself is another thing I don't want to do, because I've had, you know, problems with binge eating before. I think many of us have struggled with that before, and I try very hard to only eat until I'm full. And so for this diet, for me to feel like I have to eat past the point where I'm full was not a good thing for me personally. So I know in Shalene's podcast, Melissa talks about how she does this intermittent fasting, and really she's done it for years, ever since she pretty much started her industry or her career in the fitness industry, and that she's never been tired or sluggish or felt like a lack of energy. For me, on the other hand, I did this diet for a little over 2 weeks. I followed it the best I could, pretty much on the weekends. I guess the weekends were easier because I would work out later in the day, but I found myself being really crabby and really tired. Typically when I would work out in the morning, and I'm sure it's because I didn't have any energy from food, and I was lacking energy from the day before because I didn't have my normal calorie intake. So it was kind of a cycle where each morning I'd wake up and work out and then not eat until 11, and I'd be so tired, and I was really, really crabby like all last week, and it was pretty awful for me because, you know, I don't like being in a bad mood because it makes everyone around me want to be in a bad mood. And I was more tired. I didn't want to get up for my morning workouts. And eventually last week I started pushing them to the evening a couple of days because I just wanted to sleep in a little bit. So for me, I don't necessarily think intermittent fasting is probably the way that I want to keep going. I think that my normal eating habits, where normally I eat 6, 7 a.m. and then I'll have dinner 6, 7 p.m. So that's a good 12-hour eating window and 12-hour fasting window. I guess that's worked for me in the past. Maybe I didn't try this intermittent fasting long enough, because I don't think I really saw I definitely didn't see any immediate results from doing the intermittent fasting for 2 weeks. I guess I felt a little bit leaner, but I also have started a different workout program and eating a little bit differently in general. So I don't think I can really contribute that to the intermittent fasting. So this might be something that works for some of you, but I would say to proceed with caution on it, especially if you've had some kind of, habit you're trying to break with eating in the past. Changing to something this drastic might not be the best way to go. But, it's always worth a try. So that's just my thought on it, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So I'd like you to let me know in the comments if you've ever tried intermittent fasting or what you think about it. If you think that, if you're normally like me and, breakfast is the best, because I love to eat breakfast and I look forward to eating when I wake up during the day. So just let me know what you think. I'd really love to hear your thoughts on it, and we will talk to you soon.